Welcome to the Backlash. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves, joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Kind of
A little hungover there?
Getting a little over my hangover.
Just a bit?
We had a big parish, like two back-to-back parish picnics this weekend for the feast of St. Michael the Archangel. And we also had a Smoketoberfest at the Cigar Lounge. And so I bought 40 liters of Hofbrauhaus Oktoberfest special and drank 10 of it.
Oh, yeah. I have it on good authority that everyone on this stream is wasted right now. Except for me, of course.
I'm drinking coffee now. That's
good. Yeah,
I'm
sober
good.
up.
I'm hanging out.
You can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live at the end of our show and questions to our guests. Thebacklash.net/superchat. Follow us on YouTube at Real Backlash. Follow us on Rumble, Backlash Pod. Backlash Podcast. I know where we are. IG, TikTok. Find all of our links on our website.
Under the About section.
Yeah, everything should be there.
Link.
Thank you so much for joining us today. A quick thanks to our sponsors, Atlas Bullion, premier dealer of gold and silver, Idaho Tallow, skincare without endocrine disruptors, Antelope Hill, the people that will publish literally anything. Thank you so much. And without further ado, this is the stream. This is the guest segment that I have been most excited. I was so excited last night I could barely sleep. It's like Christmas.
I fell asleep watching Reels at 8 p.m.
This is what being a parent is like.
I'm so excited. No, I'm kidding. This is going to be great.
Mr. Adam Green, welcome.
And
and muted.
Oh, no, he's muted. What happened?
All right.
There we go.
All right. We're fixed. What's up, guys? Good to be here. Thanks for having me. What's up, Dave and Blonde and Devon?
Thanks for joining us. And Mr. Devon Stack.
How's it going?
We had a little Twitter space a few weeks ago with both of you fellas in it. And it was so fun and entertaining that I was like, let's recreate that space.
Nice.
In a more controlled environment.
A little less chaotic.
Although Adam has told me that this will not be contentious, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All right. Really? Well, to clarify, I said I'm not going to try to be contentious. It might happen.
That's no good. Yeah. I want everybody on their worst behavior.
All right.
Please.
Can do.
Let's just get right into it because I watched your debate with E. Michael Jones yesterday, Adam.
When was this? Is this like
this was like 5 years ago. 4 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Okay, because I watched it. I watched it. Somebody that had just uploaded it on YouTube, and so I thought that this was very recent. Well, this changes everything.
Wasn't it? Didn't you do this back when I was working for E. Michael Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that
good
would have
Lord.
been a long time ago.
I thought this was like 6 months ago.
Ancient lore.
Okay, I had never seen it before. I hadn't. It was painful to watch.
Yeah. He doesn't do well.
He doesn't do well in a debate setting. He really does not. You brought up a lot of good points. I would like to act like this is a 2-on-2 debate, but I'm openly questioning my very weak Catholic faith at this point in time.
Yeah.
So I can't really be in your camp, Dave.
So this is a 3-on-1 dog pile.
3-on-1.
3-on-1 dog pile.
I can help with the backlash. Dave's really going to get some backlash from this.
I brought my crucifix. I am girded with the armor of faith. We are ready to rock and roll.
Well,
I've also got my, my special books here, like Mein Kampf.
That's a fancy cover.
That's getting clipped. Yeah, this is the old Mannheim translation. Oh. But anyway.
Well, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's memorial, which was a terrible spectacle, and I hated every moment of it, there has been this online debate about Christian forgiveness, about the utility of an evangelical awakening, which I think is worthless. And so I think that would be an excellent topic of discussion for all of us. So let's dive right in. Let's go. Adam Blackpilled Dave. How about that? Okay. On how Christian forgiveness weakens or strengthens us, and if Erica Kirk's brand of forgiveness is appropriate in a Catholic setting. How about that?
Okay, here we go.
I saw a lot of people saying that they were disgusted by her coming out and forgiving the shooter right away. I feel like anybody telling you that you should love your enemy and forgive your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, like to be created by your enemy is kind of the way I view that. But I think I saw just the other this new Charlie Kirk replacement guy that's blown up on the internet the other day.
The gay guy.
Yeah, he put out a tweet as well after this latest church attack, and he talked about forgiveness right away. I think it just sends a bad message to everybody of like complacency and not doing anything and being pacifist and being pushed around. People that love their enemy and are so willing to forgive immediately are just asking to be exploited and take advantage of.
I can't argue with that.
That's my position.
How about you, Devon?
I think the one of the reasons why it doesn't work out is in a well, first of all, it's not even just we're talking internationally with some of these issues, but like even within our country, it's the demographics are so jostled around and mixed up. I think the intended response to this quick forgiveness is that it's going to appear as if you are, you're displaying gravitas. It's going to be something that's going to be respected by your enemies, and so they'll return in kind. The attitude that you're or the olive branch that you're extending to them, and that's just not the way low trust society individuals view that. They view it as weakness. They see, oh, look at this guy. I can abuse him, and he never fights back. He's forgiving me. Oh, holy shit! Like we can steal his car. He's going to forgive me, so we can come back tomorrow and steal his truck or his bike or whatever. And so you just end up being a mark. You end up being a sucker. And so this whole tradition of turn the other cheek and forgive your enemies, and somehow that's going to make you the bigger man, or that's going to make you the better person. It just turns you into a pussy. It turns into a pussy that gets walked all over. And that's unfortunately, that's kind of what's happened. White people are basically pussies. They get walked all over. And I'm not saying that's the only reason why that's happening, but that philosophy is 100 or not 100% what is the origin of this. But I would say it's super influential, like, because you have white Christians who are very, very willing to turn the other cheek. And, if someone asks you for your, what's the saying? If someone asks you for this, then give them this too.
Give them your shirt off your back. Yeah.
Right. So that sort of a thing. And it's just like, again, that works if everyone's playing by those rules, but not everyone's playing by those rules. So you just get abused and exploited.
Right. I've heard Dave mention that we did historically support things like the Crusades, but modern Christendom is not as it used to be.
Right.
Defend yourself.
Well, I mean, I don't have to I'm not defending Christian Zionism, okay? I mean, what has happened to Christianity in America is frankly very similar to what happened to Christianity in Germany in the turn of the century during the Weimar Republic period. There's something that happens called Judaizing, where Jews get involved in Christian churches and then they start subverting and undermining and changing the doctrines of the faith to lend them favor and to put the native populations at a marked disadvantage. And when you look at the brand of mega churchianity that has now come together with this Charlie Kirk memorial, I think we've really seen the beginning of a turning point. But it really is, because something new is coming, where we're seeing these politicians that are preaching. We're seeing pastors that are talking politics, and it's all done in one umbrella thing with pyrotechnics and high stage production quality and all of this stuff. And it's, in my opinion, it isn't even Christianity. It's a cheap form of entertainment. Mm-hmm. It is a form of this opiate for the masses. It has nothing to do with the historical, traditional versions of Christianity. And again, like women being in charge, women getting up on stage, lecturing men, your wife is not your slave, blah, blah. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. But as far as the forgiving your enemies and turning the other cheek and all that, you can forgive somebody without forgetting. You can forgive somebody and send them off to face the death penalty. The idea that forgiveness means that you have to cut your balls off. I don't think so. You know, I mean, if you look at, you know, the way that European civilizations acted for 1,950 or 65 years, you know, we were strong. We went to war. We killed people. We did the Inquisitions. We did the Crusades, you know. And so this idea that loving your neighbor, loving your enemy, and forgiving your enemy is somehow exclusive or mutually exclusive to the point that you can't
you got to
fight
remember
back
though,
is
and
goofy.
the time you're talking about, these countries were 100% white.
Yes.
These weren't multicultural European countries. These were 100% white countries. And we're not talking so much about like global, you know, international politics so much as just how, I mean, we're talking about domestic issues. You're talking about people who are getting shot within our country.
Yes.
And that kind of behavior, again, it made sense if everyone in your country belongs to the Church of England or the Church of Rome or whatever. If everyone is playing by the same rules, you're going to have that work out. But it's not going to work out when you have a dwindling Christian population and a bunch of random Hindus and a bunch of Muslims and atheists and just like, you know, just whatever, you know, just like this smorgasbord of theology.
Yeah.
It ends up being an exploit that gets taken advantage of.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree there. And, you know, this is where Christians need to be wise as serpent. We need, wake up. We're at war.
Can we watch this real quick? I've got a few things to say about it.
Yeah, this is the whole clip.
Not the whole thing, but
Well, I don't know if it's queued up or anything.
I think it is.
I Googled it and pulled it up. Let's see.
That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do."
How did she mess that up?
She messed it up. No,
That
not.
man.
Mm-hmm.
That young man.
I don't think I've seen this version.
Seriously?
This is
I
it?
forgive him.
I don't know. Okay, so this
See, look
type
at
of
all those people that they're you know, to thunderous applause.
to thunderous applause, right?
That didn't get some kind of bad reaction, and there was like 90,000 fucking people in that stadium, and it wasn't received poorly because this is fairly universal. There's we're talking like the magatard brand of Christianity, whatever you want to call it. But I guarantee you there was Catholics in there, there were Mormons in there, there were evangelicals, Baptists, whatever. I mean, it's 90,000 fucking people. And I think it was generally well received. And in fact, even when people were initially responding poorly on the internet to those comments, even people on the right were like getting pushback, or Christians, this is what we have to do. Right. And it's fucking poison is what it is. It's fucking poison.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how this brand of Christianity that everybody is adopting is not going to be an impediment to justice. Adam?
Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And this guy did know what he was doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
These people do things knowing what they're doing, and he didn't even apologize or show any type of repentance to come out right away like it's a virtue to forgive somebody that just blew off your husband. Teaches everybody to be pushovers. And this is very interesting. You guys are like this. There's an ancient Jewish book called Total Yeshu. It's the secret life of Jesus, and it's kind of like a polemic against the Gospels. And in it, they talk about these two teachings of Jesus, and they mock them and place them into the context that it says in a Jew and a Christian. That's the context that they put this in. Okay, it says, so the Christians commanded that you no longer ill-treat any of the Jews, but if a Jew said to a Christian, "Go with me 1 mile," let him go with him 2 miles. And they put it in the context of a Christian to a Jew. And if a Jew strikes a Christian on his left cheek, let him turn it to the right also. Because in this world, they may have their reward, the person that takes advantage of you, right? But in the world to come, they will be punished. So they're going to get theirs in heaven. And this reminds me of the story in the Bible when Jesus is being arrested and he says, put your sword back in its place. And he says that his kingdom is not of this world. Don't fight the Jews against his arrest because the kingdom is not of this world. So it teaches you to forfeit this world for treasures in heaven by forgiving. And I love how Trump, by the way, like publicly in front of so many people on such a big stage, denied one of the core teachings of Jesus and said, no, he doesn't like to love his enemy. He hates his enemy and he wants to destroy his enemy. And
very Jewish of him.
very, very Jewish, or even pagan, to get vengeance and justice and those types.
And I'll tell you, I like vengeance, and that's the other thing too. Is I hear from Christians all the time. They say stuff like, "Vengeance is the Lord's. You shouldn't try to get vengeance ever. That's not for you, goy. You know, that's for only God can get vengeance." And it's like, no, fuck that. I want vengeance, and I'm going to get vengeance.
Well,
vengeance is a tool.
Do you really want vengeance, though, or
Yes.
you want justice?
Yes.
You want justice, right? You want the guy that killed whoever, right? You want people that murder people in the subway, cut their throats. You want them to be put up against a wall because it's wrong to murder people, and we should have like standards in society. Like, don't we want justice? And the problem is that when justice isn't dealt out by the state, that's when you get vigilante justice.
Yeah, but
you get
sometimes, you know
like
what?
vengeance.
Sometimes if someone hurts me, I want to hurt them twice as bad. It's not just justice. I want to hurt them so bad that everyone around, I'm not just sending a message to them like, hey, if you do that, eye for an eye, you know, I'll do it back to you. No, I want to send a message to everyone around them and people like them that, oh, don't fuck with that guy.
Based.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah, I can't disagree with that at all.
Vengeance.
And if what Adam is saying is true, then why should we even seek justice in this world? I mean, we have this strong desire that's innate to humanity to seek justice, to even seek revenge. Like, why does that exist within us if we're not supposed to do that on this earth?
Well, and not only that, but it's like if we were to take this like, oh, vengeance is the Lord's, turn the other cheek or whatever. Why even have prisons? Why even have courts? You know, let God's going to be the one that sorts it all out anyway. So why have anything? You know, it doesn't make any sense, the extreme that they're taking this to. And look, I get it. I kind of get it. I understand that, you know, you don't want people holding grudges forever and you know, turning their whole life into like this vendetta against another group or another person or whatever. And it's better to move on sometimes. And I get it, but it's just like, stop being such pussies. Like, everyone's just being a bunch of fucking pussies. Like, white people are getting pushed around, shoved around, and it's embarrassing. And I don't mean just like metaphorically, they're physically getting pushed around and shoved around, and it's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. And it's time for people to start fighting back. And look, again, this isn't like a call to arms, but guess what? You will go out quietly in the night if you are not prepared to at some point say, you know what, the time for arguments is over. You know, if you're not willing to at least keep that on the table, if you're going to tell me that, you know, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it gets, we always have to solve things politically and we always have to turn the other cheek and God will come, you know, like with a fucking cape on and save us at the end somehow. You know, fuck that. I'm not going to wait around for, you know, it's like, in fact, there's some Christians that get this, right? There's some Christians that understand, like, for example, there was this story, I think I heard it from like a Mormon bishop or someone that, like, but this guy was there was a flood coming, right? There's a flood coming and the water's rising and his neighbors are saying, hey, we got to get out of town. The water's going to, you know, it's going to engulf your house. And he says, oh, don't worry. God's going to save me. I've been really good and God's going to save me. Like, okay, but like, if he doesn't, you know, like, you better, you know, get ready. The water's rising. And so they leave. And then like the water goes up and it keeps going up, ends up on the roof. And a neighbor of his comes by on a boat. And he's like, hey, get in the boat. You know, we're going to save you. It's like, oh, no, don't worry. God's going to save me. God's going to take care of it. And they're like, no, okay, but like, maybe get in the boat. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. So he's all right. So he leaves. And then the water keeps rising. A helicopter comes by, and the helicopter is like, hey, you know, we're going to lower the ladder, get in the helicopter. He's like, no, God's going to save me. Long story short, he dies. He drowns. And he goes up to heaven, and God's like, what the hell, man? And he's like, well, I thought you were going to save me. You were going to. He's like, I tried. I sent you your neighbor in a car. I sent the guy in the boat, and I sent the helicopter. And you just kept sitting around acting like you were going to get saved. I was trying to save you. And so that's kind of the problem, is I feel like people think that, oh, God's going to save us. God's going to save us. Okay, but how? Doesn't God work through people? Don't you have to, be yourself the instrument of God sometimes? If vengeance is the Lord's, maybe you are that instrument of vengeance.
True. I don't disagree with that at all, Devon. I mean, I think you're right on point. And there's a lot of this stuff where, like, for example, like what Adam said, this idea of put your sword back in your scabbard. Was it St. Peter? He had to. He had to
your sword and get a cloak or whatever that faggot shit was. I heard people say.
No. He said, "Sell your."
He
cloak.
had to go be martyred.
Said,
that's why Christians have like a martyrdom. Victim being persecuted, being hated by the world, and that's a good thing. And they're just going to sit back and take it and pray.
Yeah. So anyway, you're getting that one backwards. The instruction is to sell your cloak and buy a sword. That's from Luke 22:36. Christianity is not a pacifist religion, period. And to get back to this thing about St. Peter and putting the sword back in his scabbard, the whole point is that Christ had to die on the cross, right? And so if Peter and the apostles were to fight back against the zealots and the Pharisees, then the cross would never have happened. And so that's an issue right there. But then also this whole, well, my kingdom isn't of this world. Well, then why do we say thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven? The idea of going forth and baptizing all nations and to subdue the world and to bring it under Christian order. And so, I think you can look at those things, and then you can also look at just the history of the West and the idea of like, well, the modern version of Christianity that you guys are talking about and accurately diagnosing as problematic, this is new. This is the whole point, that this is something new, because if, why the fuck was there a Bastille? Why were we locking up revolutionaries in pre-revolutionary France? You know what I mean? Like, we always had prisons. We always punished bad guys. We always put people to death that had violated the law.
Right.
We've always had capital punishment, and the Catholic Church, up until like 4 years ago, supported the death penalty.
Right.
So this is all very, very new. And we're dealing with, like, I guess, I would say that there's a remnant of people that have the actual faith, that have the Christian faith, and that the vast majority of Christianity has been subverted.
Yeah, but remnants don't control organizations.
Exactly. And after this Erica Kirk thing, everybody was saying, this is a wonderful thing because the gospel is being preached to millions of people. I would argue that this is considerably worse than a bunch of atheists seeking vengeance for our society, because it's the pacifism. It's the new Christian evangelical pacifism that is absolutely poisonous to any spirit of revolt that we may have as white people.
Yeah, and that's to say nothing of Jewish supremacy and the fact that these people worship Jews. I'm sure. Did you guys see this clip? I don't have it up. Let me try to pull it up. There was like, what was it? Let's check in on the evangelicals. Let's see if it pops up. There was this clip going around over the weekend with a bunch of these Christian Zionists, like all like holding their hands up with a giant Israel flag on the projector, and they're all like swaying back and forth, literally worshiping the Star of Remphan, and like bowing down before the flag of the state of Israel, like, hello, we've got a problem here. But again, I think that the main thing that I would take issue with Adam is like defining the term Christian, because it's like you'll say Christian or whatever, and Anglicanism, Lutheranism, evangelical Christian Zionism, Catholicism, modern Catholicism, post-Vatican II, and traditional Catholicism all get wrapped up into one thing as if it's the same thing, where I think that there are, in fact, distinctions with a difference between these sects. You following me? Let me see if I can get this clip up. But I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
Yeah, there's some minor distinctions between them, but I'm not just criticizing one specific sect. basically since the inception, I don't differentiate. It's what the Bible says. It's what the church has traditionally been, besides some of the schisms. So it's not just, although I can criticize some sects more or less, or cause more harm in the world.
Devon, you were raised Mormon. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing: is I don't see a whole lot of differences, and I think the differences that exist are basically, it's like dogmatic stuff. It's change, differences in ritual and stuff like that. And in fact, one of the reasons why it's kind of annoying, every faction of Christianity thinks they're the only true one, everyone else is wrong. And some of them, they make that part of their religion is everyone else is wrong. You're all going to hell but me. And I've never understood that. Mormons aren't like that. Mormons are just kind of like, oh no, Catholics are different, and these guys are different, but whatever. It's not a big deal. And while it'd be better if they were Mormon, they're not going to hell because they're Catholic. But then I would know like in high school, for example, I knew like all these evangelicals that would like on a regular basis tell me how I was going to hell all the time. And so it doesn't even have, even though like you're kind of on the same page in terms of values, and just because you disagree about some, basically really, it doesn't really matter type stuff, like whether, like in the weeds kind of details about, some of the stories or interpretations in the Bible. Ultimately, when I had friends in high school that were all Catholics, we kind of agreed on like everything, and when it came to like real life application of this theology, like we pretty much agreed politically on everything, socially on everything. And that's true of most Christians. Occasionally, you get like some weirdo, but like pretty much most Christians, whether you're talking about, Mormons or Baptists or Presbyterians or Catholics or whatever, they're all pretty much on the same page. Like there's very little to disagree on when it comes to practical application.
Right. I guess my concern, and the reason that I advocate for Christian nationalism in particular, is that there is obvious moral decay in secular societies, and I am concerned that we can't institute a strong sense of morality amongst an atheistic people. And I mean, I think it's a projection of, we talk about this with libertarianism all the time, libertarianism, that we project our good values and high IQ on stupid people that can't develop a sense of morality in the absence of a Christian framework. So if for that reason, I advocate it, but the evangelical movement, as I see it, especially as demonstrated by this memorial service, that is not going to benefit us at all. So how do we deal with this problem?
Well, one thing I look at it as, it's like, if you think about it, let's say you're a systems administrator at a large corporation that's been around a long time, and they've been using the same software package for like 40 years, and they keep upgrading it and updating it and patching it to, every time they get, some kind of new feature that needs to be added, or some kind of new technology that needs to be accommodated for, or, some kind of new internet connection or whatever. And eventually you end up with this bloated software that has a lot of problems, it has a lot of vulnerabilities. And if you hire in some consultants, they're going to come and look at your system and be like, wow, this is kind of all over the place. It'd be way easier if you were just to wipe all this out and install like this new OS or this new version of the software that's been built from scratch. It doesn't have all these like ad hoc additions to it, and everything would run a million times smoother. And it's easier said than done.
Right? Wouldn't that be a good one? They have a bunch of patches.
Yeah, just all these patches and all kinds of I mean, because anyone who's worked at a big company like that has really old software, I'm talking about, the interface is crap, and it has, it's because it's evolved over the years, but now it has all these weird problems and vulnerabilities. Well, the thing is, from a systems administrator's point of view, as much as you'd love to snap your fingers and have this new system in place, it's not as easy as just doing that, because you'd have to physically go around and update all your hardware to make sure it was going to work with the new software. You'd have to go around and train like old, boomer lady that's been using this same fucking software for 30 years to use the new software. And now you're going to have unintended consequences. Now you might find out that the old ass warehouse software that one of your suppliers uses now is incompatible with the new, and so it's a huge fucking mess. Even though on paper it would be great to just snap your fingers and get rid of the old shit and install something new, it's never that easy. And I kind of view this with when it comes to people that think that, well, if we just got rid of Christianity, it would be fine. And it's like, well, it wouldn't be, though, because you have to have something to reinstall to replace it, first of all. And you're also going to have to worry about all these, all the same kinds of problems. You're going to have to go and train everybody to use the new software. And it's going to take, it would take, like centuries really to get it up and running and to patch all the problems that would emerge in this new software, like all these unintended exploits and 0 days that would be released, and you'd be getting hacked from here and there and everywhere. And so it's, because religion basically is software. It's basically software that's been installed, and it does, just like software, have vulnerabilities. And so it's I don't know. I think that as Rebecca said, some people need this software more than others. There are some people that can't necessarily intellectualize complex values and morality, and they need to just have some story, some easy to understand, easy to comprehend parable that kind of wraps it all up in this nice little package, and or if they don't have the ability to comprehend why a certain value or certain kind of morality is important and why it's better. Sometimes it is just better for them to want to adhere to it because they think God wants them to. Right. And like that, they don't need an explanation,
Yeah. Adam, do you want to get in there?
Yeah, I like the computer analogy, but I would say who developed this software and then who installed it amongst European people. And Christianity is a spinoff of Judaism and was started by a Jewish messianic movement. But I think we could slowly, this is not ever going to happen like an overnight thing, but I think slowly, especially with the way the demographic trajectories are already going of how many people are Christians, we could keep the values and the morality that we like and then scratch the rest without the superstition, without ever acknowledging a chosen people or the God of Israel. And that could be one of the solutions. But it is true with what Blon and Devon are saying about how some people do need, and this is what even the Greeks, Plato talked about, the noble lie is required to kind of keep a society functioning, where there's a foundational myth that the masses believe in and take literally and think it's historical, to have a functioning society and how powerful those myths are. So it is true, people do learn with myths and the lessons from them, and stories is how they understand concepts like the software that he's talking about. But it is also a concern. It is true that especially amongst former Christians leads to like liberalism. A lot of the most extreme atheists out there that are like super pro LGBTQ and diversity and all of that, a lot of them are former Christians that have taken the Christian morality to an extreme of the other side and almost trying to outdo the Christians, right? So I think just heading in a direction that has less people believing in the magical aspects of Judaism and Christianity, and just keeping the values and the morals that we like and we can agree on.
My issue with Catholicism is the element of universalism. And even, my precious Nick Fuentes has
I found it. I finally found it. I found it. There we go. This is what I was talking about. This is the... Look at this. Bro.
Right, but not
what
to
am I
be
supposed
that
to do
guy,
about this?
But here's what you got to understand. What's the origin of that? Why wouldn't they be like that? Think of it this way. They worship a God who decided when he went to earth, he was going to be a Jew.
What?
You know, that's no, there's no, you can't talk your way out of that. Like they worship a God who, when he decided to be on earth, out of all the races he could have been black, he could have been white, he could have been Aboriginal. He decided to be a Jew.
Yeah, because it's tragic.
Well, it doesn't matter why he decided to be a Jew.
Because it's like poetry, it's tragedy. It's like he goes into this group of
that's
people.
Your interpretation, but it doesn't matter. You can understand how other people would interpret that as like, oh, there must be something special about Jews if God wanted to be one.
But also, like, Jews back then and Jews today are two totally different things. Two completely different religions.
Not really.
Yes,
No,
they are. They had a temple back then. They had blood sacrifice back then. They had a priesthood back then.
They just sacrificed a red heifer the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a temple. It's
about?
it's not efficacious.
So if you didn't have a church, would Christianity not exist as it did? They didn't have churches 2,000 years ago. They met in people's homes. So now you have churches. It's not the same as ancient Christianity.
It's about the sacrifice of the mass. What are you talking about? The Old Testament sacrifice, as outlined, the blood sacrifice for the remission of sins, was carried on by the Catholic Church through the mass, which is a representation of the death of Jesus Christ on the cross.
Now, is that the Catholic Church where the first pope was also a Jew?
He wasn't Jewish. He was Christian. That's the whole point.
Peter wasn't Jewish?
I'm talking about ethnically Jewish.
What?
Because I'm talking about ethnically Jewish. He was ethnically
but there's
Jewish.
a distinction here. There's a distinction.
Peter got scolded by Paul for refusing to eat with Gentiles. Peter couldn't even go talk to the centurion and go to the house of the centurion until he had a vision from God telling him it was okay.
Right. So there is a distinction, not without a difference, between the Jewish religion and Jewish ethnicity, right? So in St. John, when in the Gospel of John, when John says that the Jews called for the death of Jesus Christ, and they said, "Let his blood be on us and on our people," that does not, like, does that apply to Mary, Jesus' mother, Mary Magdalene, St. John, St. Peter, St. Paul? I mean, hello. There's clearly a distinction between Judaism as a religion and Judaism as an ethnos.
These evangelicals would think that there's something special
not my fault.
about the Jewish people and about the Jewish state, because they literally worship a God who, when he decided to come to earth,
they don't worship a God. They worship the Jews. That's the whole point. They worship the Jews.
They would tell you that they worship God.
Jesus.
Right.
Well, they're wrong.
Couldn't it be argued that Jesus
but this is
sent
what
to
I'm talking
undermine
about, where you
Judaism,
have
though?
this is the frustrating thing, and I see you doing it a lot, Dave, where you interpret other people's religions for them, where you're like, oh, you're not really Christian, you don't really blah blah blah, and other Christians do that. It's really fucking annoying when I like, as a Mormon growing up. That's the kind of stupid shit that I would see evangelicals doing all the time. Like, you're not really Christian. It's like, fuck you. Like, it's literally called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. When I pray, like, I say, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Like, but I'm not Christian because of some stupid dogmatic faggot shit. You know, and it's like, you don't get to interpret their religion for them. They believe that they're worshiping God. And in their interpretation, that God decided to be a Jew when he came to earth. And there's something special about that to them. And it's easy. It's not hard. It's easy to see why they would interpret it that way.
That's why it's so prevalent.
Because
it was so easy to do. All it took was a Schofield footnote, and now all of a sudden it's led to this. Then it wasn't that difficult to do. And
right.
It's very
not
easily,
a huge leap.
Yeah. Vulnerable and easy to be exploited if all it takes is a footnote to create like this Christian Zionist problem. And earlier Dave was like, well, they're not Jews anymore. They're Christians. But from my perspective, just because a Jew believes that somebody is the Jewish Messiah, that doesn't make them not Jews anymore.
What? I don't even
Paul
understand.
Didn't say
what
he
you're
wasn't
saying.
a Jew. He still called himself a Jew. Paul didn't call
According
himself
to
a Christian. He called himself a Jew.
According to the flesh. He said, I'm a Jew according to the flesh.
Okay, but you see what you're doing? It's just just because you have another interpretation.
It's not my interpretation.
It doesn't mean that like that's going to be what's globally recognized.
It is fucking globally recognized. It's the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic Church's definition. I didn't come up with this. Go take it up with St. John Chrysostom, with St. Augustine, with all of the saints and the councils, that make these distinctions, that define what Christianity is.
So the Catholic Church would say that Jesus was not ethnically Jewish.
No, they would say that he was not Jewish. He was Christian. The religion is named after him, for God's sake.
But again, we're talking about ethnically Jewish.
Christ is just Moshiach. It means anointed, which is like what the Jewish Messiah is called. How they refer to their kings and the high priest in Judaism. So Christianity is basically Moshiachianity. And Messiah is the Jewish concept.
I'm not arguing about this. I'm done. I'm good. This is, you're willfully taking Christianity, warping it, and then picking the absolute worst things, the worst elements of the subverted version of Christianity that is now dominant in American culture anymore, and then taking those things and reapplying them to all Christianity, and you're not viewing these things as a system, an internal system. Because the whole point is that there was one church before Martin Luther fucked it all up, basically. It's you're taking these different apples and oranges and comparing them. I'm sorry. Like even the Israeli Supreme Court would agree with me that once somebody has been baptized, they are no longer a Jew. There is like several court cases in the 1970s.
Their DNA doesn't change.
Sure, their DNA doesn't change, but the religion is not immaterial.
Lots of Messianic Jews would disagree with that too. Messianic Jews always say that,
of course, they would disagree with
Jesus
that.
Is the most Jewish thing you can do.
But isn't the historical Judaism that we're discussing just vastly different ethnically than the modern Ashkenazi Jew?
Yeah.
No, they're still
they share a lot of DNA actually.
Right. Yeah, they're genetically descended from the original or the Pharisees or whoever.
Okay, what about the New Testament repeatedly condemning Pharisees and Jewish leaders for rejecting Christ?
Right. No, I'm not. I think Adam and I have different points we're making here. My point is, ethnically, we're talking about the actual, racially. Let me put it that way. Racially, when God decided to come, the reason why these evangelicals think there's something special about the Jewish state, which is an ethno state for Jewish people, the reason why they see this as that they're the chosen people. There's certainly a religious component to it, but my point was, if the God they worship, out of anyone that he could have been Aboriginal, he could have been black, he could have been German, he could have been whatever. He decided to be a Jew, and he decided to give their religion to Jews. And you can say that the Jew, there's what you can have all kinds of reasons why you think God did that, but you can't see inside the mind of God, so you don't know. You're just guessing. But what you can't guess about is that he chose to be a Jew. And so that's why I can totally understand whether you agree with it or not, why evangelicals would think, well, then there must be something special about Jews. Now, again, Adam has another point that he's making, but my point is that's why I think that there is a racial issue, really, when it comes to evangelicals ever trying to be pro-white, because they don't, the God that they worship, they don't even see really. I mean, if he was pro-white, he would have come down as a white guy.
What?
Well, there is a problem with universalism in Christianity, and we're seeing this. Do you think that we can accept racial differences in a way that EMJ cannot, and still be pro-white and Catholic?
Who's this question?
Not according to the Catholic
Dave.
Church, I would say. The Catholic
the
Church.
majority.
Wait, let's let Dave answer this.
Then
What's the question?
Do you think that we can still be pro-white and Catholic?
Yeah. Why not?
Because there's an element.
There is an element of white, right? That is kind of like the product of the American melting pot and this like stripping away of ethnicity, ethnic traditions, and cultural differences, right? Like you're kind of put into this meat grinder with all of these different people, and everything that makes each group of people unique is stripped away by the American system, by indoctrination, the movies, and all of this stuff. And on the other side of that, you do wind up being white. And what does white mean? It means like a deracinated person of European heritage with no culture, no roots, no tradition, right? So there is an element of white that is that, but at the same time, we're using white as an identifier of somebody of European heritage. And the Catholic Church and European heritage go together like butter and jam or whatever. I don't know. Peas in a pod, whatever. I don't know. I'm not,
oil and water.
No, not oil and water. Not oil and water. The
Well, look at what
exact
it's led
opposite
to.
of
Look
it.
at what it's led to today.
What has Christianity led to today? Because it wasn't Christianity that subverted the European nations. It wasn't Christianity that brought in hordes of Muslims. It wasn't Christianity that is going around
Catholic Church is
doing
like the
hate
number
speech
one
laws.
pro-immigration organizations in the world.
The Catholics worked hand in hand with the Jews all throughout the 20th century to make sure that the immigration floodgates were wide open, and every pope for like the last forever has been very pro-immigration
Since Vatican II.
It doesn't matter though. Yeah, see,
and there is an element of,
and other Catholics do this too. I'm not picking on you. When they say, "Oh, ever since Vatican II, blah blah blah," you literally sound like the sovereign citizens. They're like, "Oh, actually, in 1855, they said that I don't need a license plate anymore." Well, guess what? The cop's still gonna punch out your fucking window and drag you out of the broken glass. Okay, he's still gonna arrest you, even if you're right. Even if there's like some weird, obscure reason why you don't have to pay income tax or whatever, you're still going to fucking jail. And so, even if it is because Vatican II, it doesn't matter. You're not in charge anymore. The Catholic Church, as it exists now, for all practical purposes, is pro-immigration. And so, unless there's some kind of magical way you can change it, just like the sovereign citizens, unless there's some kind of way the sovereign citizen can somehow change the universe and warp time and space in order so that he doesn't go to jail for not paying his income taxes, it doesn't fucking matter. A system, the purpose of a system is what it does.
But it has been bastardized to a degree.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that it doesn't matter if it's been why it changed. Like I said, the sovereign citizen people, they could be right. They could be totally right that you're right that income tax is illegal and you don't need a license plate on your car and whatever. But again, you're still going to jail. It doesn't matter if you're right if you're still going to jail. And the same thing with the Catholic Church stuff. It's like, you might be right. Vatican II might have been what fucked everything up or whatever, but it fucked everything up. You're not just, you can't, it's not like some life hack to know that Vatican II fucked everything up if everything's still fucked up. There's no mechanism to get rid of the post Vatican II Pope and kick them all out and get to restore it, right? There's no mechanism to do that.
There is actually, because Vatican I was never actually properly closed because war broke out and the Pope got taken into captivity, so they never closed Vatican I. So if we ever did in the future get a Pope that wasn't like a crypto Jew, they could declare that Vatican II is in fact null and void.
Well, and if I had wagons, or if I had wheels, I'd be a wagon.
Right. I'm just saying there is a mechanism.
If we ever got a pope that was picked by the bad people that was a good pope, then magically he could undo what all the bad pope. It's like, come on. It's like, okay, well, if we got a white nationalist as president, he could rescind all of Obama's executive orders and say that and deport all the black people. It's like, so what? Like it's fantasy land shit. Like that's not a practical way of looking at things. We have to deal with reality here.
Yeah, but all of these things could be overhauled through force.
Right.
Those are practical
solutions. They have the power of force, though.
Who is the power of force?
To just condemn and throw any racial anti-Semitism out of Christianity and condemn it and not allow anybody to rise in their ranks that has that. And it's also this, like, to piggyback on what Devon said, it's the same thing we hear about the Christian Zionists in America. They're not real Christians. They're but they have the real power. They still have the real power. And especially with the Charlie Kirk thing, we're seeing Elon Musk is retweeting Erica Kirk and all of the MAGA influencers. The Judeo-Christians are more empowered ever with this Charlie Kirk revival. Everybody wants to live like Charlie Kirk, and he was the top Shabbos Goy pro-Israel conservative commentator. And where Trump is promoting it, Ben Shapiro is promoting Christianity, Dennis Prager, Netanyahu is talking about Christians are his greatest allies all the time. So this is like, you have to agree, Dave, like they do push Christianity to get support for Israel, right? That's one of their main mechanisms for support.
They're not pushing Christianity to get support for Israel. They're pushing Judaized Christianity to get support for Israel. If they were pushing for Christianity,
but again, you're using your
true.
interpretation. Yeah. It doesn't matter what if you don't see it as real Christianity, they do.
Okay, so truth doesn't matter.
That is a good point. Shouldn't we be trying to find the truth of Christianity?
Your interpretation of it. Your interpretation of it. It's not my interpretation the truth.
It's not my interpretation of it. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of Catholicism that makes it different. We have a pope and bishops and councils that interpret this stuff for us. All I have to do is be in alignment with what the church has always taught. I don't have to read the Bible and be inspired by
the Pope says now about how anti-Semitism is bad and how open borders is good.
Vatican II.
Okay, so now suddenly you don't have to be in line with the Pope. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, so it doesn't matter if you interpret them as not Christians. They clearly worship Jesus. They are Christians to them, even if you don't consider them Christians. And that is the kind of Christianity that is being promoted. You know, that's the kind of Christianity that Ben Shapiro is promoting. That's the kind of Christianity. I used to listen to Dennis Prager way before I was Jew pilled. I used to pay for his fucking podcast, like, so I could
Devon.
I did, like,
wow.
This is like 15, 20 years ago, but like I used to, so I could listen to it on my fucking iPod, like without ads and stuff. And he promoted Christianity all the time. That's one of the reasons I liked him. It's one of the reasons I liked him.
Yeah.
And he was promoting Christianity all the time and telling Christians they should go to church. And in fact, he would dissuade when occasionally you would get like some guy calling up who was very impressed with Dennis Prager and saw him as like, you know, their own personal rabbi or whatever, and would express some kind of interest in Judaism. If their background was Christian, he would, you could tell he didn't like that. He'd like, no, you should be Christian. You should be Christian. He didn't want them to be Jewish.
I would like to point out to the audience really quick. I never understood why he talked about Israel so goddamn much. I just thought like, oh, well, it's because he's Jewish. I was such an innocent young boy back then. We all were.
But I had no idea that, like, you know, what was going on there. But it was full on Zionist Christianity every time he talked about Christianity. I'm worrying that this is becoming unproductive. So let's do something a little bit more actionable here. By the way, this is great content. Please donate to the backlash.net/superchat. Excellent content. I'm sorry, Dave. But we picking on Dave. I'm just, like I said, like I hear a lot of Catholics, you know, talk about how, you know, they could be right. I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that for all practical purposes, we have to deal with the conditions how they are now. We have to deal with what's the dangers that are facing white people right now. And if maybe in 100 years or whatever, however long it takes, you know, the Catholic Church gets fixed and based and whatever, that's fine. I'm not saying that can't happen. What I'm saying is white people have to worry about not going extinct now. Right. And so I'm focused on that. And I don't want any of this other stuff, this noise, to get in the way. And also, by the way, I don't want all these different Christians who are pro-white to let their own individual religions get in the way. Where, like, you know, there are these divisions between Catholics and Orthodox and Presbyterians or whatever the hell, right? Mormons. Like, I want them, if however they can justify white nationalism in their head and still adhere to their religion, that's fine with me. I want us to all get along and focus on this problem together.
I would like to take a brief moment and defer to Adolf Hitler.
They are subversives because they hinder unity and thus help the enemy.
If there is anything which is non-folkish, it is this messing about with old Germanic expressions, in particular, which neither suit the present time nor conjure up a definite picture. It is a mischievous habit, but it is very prevalent nowadays. At that time and subsequently, I had to warn followers repeatedly against these wandering folkish scholars who never accomplished anything positive or practical except to cultivate their own superabundant self-conceit. In most cases, they come because they think that, under the aegis of the movement, it will be possible for them to promulgate their old ideas to the misfortune of their new listeners. Anyhow, nobody ever seems able to make out what exactly these ideas are. It is typical of such persons that they rant about ancient Teutonic heroes of the dim and distant ages, stone axes, battle spears and shields, whereas in reality, they themselves are the woefulest poltroons imaginable.
Okay, anyway. We're back.
Yeah, but
There's
he's literally echoing what I'm saying too, though. He's saying that, like, you know, you can sit there and argue about, whether, the Trinity is real or there are three different beings or whatever, but ultimately it doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, we have to focus on what is actually facing the danger that's actually facing white people.
Sure.
And I'm not, look, by the way, I'm not advocating paganism or whatever. I've told pagans it's kind of ridiculous too, because there's find me 50 pagans and I'll find you 50 people who don't really agree religiously on almost anything.
Sure.
And because there is no like official church of the pagan.
No, there's a bunch of gay pagans too. There's like no unified moral theology of paganism.
So look, I'm not saying be pagan. I'm saying that right now the problems facing white people and a lot of their behavior can be explained by this the way that Christianity is practiced in the West.
Yeah. Here's another quick.
And the clergy. We cannot declare too often that the NSDAP is not dreaming of attacking the Christian religion and its worthy servants. It is the corrupting policy of the center and the Bavarian People's Party which we attack. These lose no opportunity of crying church in danger, except when they are making common cause with the atheistical, God-denying social democracy.
So anyway, just saying, I stand with Hitler.
Literally Hitler.
I stand with literally Hitler. I mean, it's I guess where I come from is it's just like you look at the United States of America, you look at white people, and at least 60 to 70% of white people call themselves Christians. So what are we going to do? We're going to go out and we're going to attack Christianity itself. We're going to say that Jesus never even existed. And then we're going to say, by the way...
I'm telling the truth, Dave. He didn't exist,
bro.
It's a Jewish myth,
bro.
No superhero walked on water and was born a virgin and rose from the dead. A Jew just made up an ancient story fulfilling prophecy. That's the truth. If it offends people, I literally don't care.
Doesn't
it is
offend
the truth,
me.
and
it
they
just
push
makes
this
you
lie,
look like an idiot.
Judaize the world, and look at what it's led to, and look at how heavily all the establishment, everybody on the kosher ride is pushing it. If you want to do a debate on Jesus being your myth or not, we could do that. But don't just say, hey, you're not even allowed to say that.
Oh, how do you explain the non-Jewish historical sources that attest to the existence of Jesus Christ?
Josephus is late and a forgery. Tacitus is after the Gospels were already in circulation and Christianity was spreading. It's not an independent attestation. And in the Talmud, we're talking hundreds of years later, and they don't even get the story right. They're just responding polemical to stories about Jesus. That's how I respond to. There are no contemporary extra-biblical references of Jesus anywhere.
And the third.
And finally, in the subheading Religion and Art, the program reads, the same applies to all the stupid attacks on Christianity. Expressions such as Christianity has only done harm merely show that the man who says them has neither human nor political intelligence.
Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
When is that from? What is the source?
That's point four.
What is the context?
That's point four of the political party of the NSDAP.
I've done a document, or not a documentary. I've done a stream where I just go over so many quotes.
It's a great. This is a
Hitler,
great
from many other people speaking against Christianity.
Highly recommend this documentary. Christianity.
Yeah, that's the trash. That's such
Reich.
A slop trash documentary made by a bunch of flat Earth kooks that are Christian identity and think they're the true Israelites that have spread so many lies that I'm Jewish and all this shit about me. That's trash, Dave. You're falling for slop.
No, I'm not. Now here is something where we can get together.
Dude, that's a joke. A bunch of flat Earthers made that, Dave. A bunch of retard coping Christians made that.
So instead of like actually addressing parsing the claims and the footnotes
I asked
here.
you,
We're
what
going to
did-
do
what-
ad
when did he
hominem
say that?
attacks on the
Was that
people.
when
Wait,
he was
wait,
rising
this
to
is
power
getting
and he was trying to
unproductive.
win
Okay.
an election
It's
and
been
didn't want to
unproductive
turn
the
off
whole
all the
time.
Christians?
Let's talk about what we should do about the Jews in Christianity. So in church, we used to pray for the conversion of the Jews.
Are you Jewish, Adam?
No.
I'm just asking questions here.
You know I'm not Jewish.
I know
Dave.
you're
and
not
you,
Jewish.
You Christians are a bunch of coping liars, dude. Everybody in your live chat just calling me Jewish and over again. You worship the King of the Jews. You believe a religion that came from Judaism and Jews. Your religion teaches that salvation comes from the Jews. I'm white. My DNA's out there. I was raised Christian. Christians are a bunch of fucking liars.
Now,
at the end of the day,
there was
all
something
these guys
here.
call me Jewish.
There was something
Tell-
here
tell
where
him
we
I'm
could
not
come
Jewish,
together. Adam isn't Jewish. I've known him for like 8 years now. He's not Jewish. But there is something here where we can come together. And there was a tweet that came out recently from Representative Anna Paulina Luna, whore. But they're coming out here, and this thing has been going on for maybe the past 24, 36 hours. Elon Musk is getting in on it, all these different representatives, and they're saying, oh, look, the ADL has condemned Christian identity as hateful. But, you know, Christian identity is a unique thing. It's like saying Catholicism or Lutheranism. Christian identity has its own structure. They actually believe that, like, Europeans are the physical descendants of the lost tribes or whatever, that they don't need to be baptized to be saved. They're saved because they're white. It serves as the foundation for Richard Butler's Arianationism. So when people are falsely holding this up, this Christian identity condemnation by the ADL, they don't know what they're actually talking about. It is something different and unique. It is its own sect with its own, priests and what do you call it? Seminaries.
Well,
and
they got
all of
that
this
town
stuff.
where that what's his face went to, the guy that did the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah, Elohim City.
Yeah, there you go.
Elohim City, and then even Randy Weaver was a Christian, and I don't really have a problem with the Christian identity people. It's kind of like Judaism for white people, which is where I would disagree with it.
Black Hebrew Israelites for white people.
It's like Black Hebrew Israelites for white people. But it is really funny that all of these people are coming out now and like attacking the ADL on this, and it's like you don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, it is maybe useful in some degree of like stirring up anti-ADL rhetoric and sentiment or whatever, but it is ahistorical, actually.
I completely have lost control of this discussion. I've totally lost control of the discussion. We've been doing this for about an hour. We had a bunch of questions come in. We should answer some of these questions.
All right. I was asking Blind. I was like, Blind, so we're going to go for like 3-4 hours today, right?
No.
And she's like, no. And I'm
No,
like,
we're
well,
absolutely not.
I don't know. All right, let me.
I do want to get back on that Christian identity thing too, though.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave's totally right. Like they're all taking that completely out of context. You actually look at the ADL site or just Google what is Christian identity. It's not even as much as a denomination as Catholicism or Protestant. It's like completely internet
small.
prison fringe, almost non-existent schizos that think that Europeans are the true Israelites, and they think Jews are the children of Satan and that they're secretly Edom, and they basically want to be the Jews and say everything about the Bible about the chosen people is about Europeans. So all of these people, Matt Gaetz, Elon, tons of big accounts. I saw Cernovich, Jack Posobiec, all these people are all pushing this, and it's literally like just
Red
completely
herring.
out of context
Well, it's
lie.
pretty- It's also that's those Nazis in Coeur d'Alene
Yes.
back in the 90s. That they were Christian identity.
Yes. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. The
So
whole.
trying to frame this as if the ADL is condemning everybody that's a Christian, which is what they're all doing.
Yes.
I don't. Is this going to have a good effect where it's going to turn everybody against the ADL and the ADL is going to be like shit out of luck and lose all their political influence? Or I think more likely, the ADL is going to just easily point out that this is being taken out of context, and they're going to play the persecuted victim, saying this is a blood libel against the ADL. They never said that. You're lying.
It reminds me of the kind of thing that's going on with the death of Charlie Kirk itself, where everybody's immediately out there blaming Israel, and it's like, wait, time out, hold up, we don't have. I mean, and this is one of the other issues where I had with Erica Kirk is it's like, how are you going to forgive a guy? I don't even think he had been arrested yet, had he?
Yes.
Or maybe he had been arrested, but it's like, where's the bullet? Where's the investigation? And you're going to forgive him before he's even found guilty, for God's sakes, It's crazy. Anyway, we do have a super chat. I've got a, does entropy like freak out for you guys? Because every time I use
never
entropy,
works on Devon's stream.
It like never works.
Yeah, I have to refresh it all the time.
Yeah.
So if you refresh it periodically, it doesn't fuck up. Or it doesn't fuck up as much.
Got it. So we got a $50 super chat from James Rhodes saying, just supporting the best stream on the web, learn much from every show, appreciate how Cameron broadens the discussions, getting my devout Catholic, somewhat normie wife to watch as well now. Very good.
I'm sure she's going to love this episode.
She's going to love this one. Let me go here. I've got to copy this, paste it back in.
Let's just do the questions for them so that we don't
I'm trying. I had
too much time.
If I didn't read that though, when I go to refresh it, it would disappear.
Entropy?
And yeah.
So stupid.
Let's see. Adam, this is from Raven Resolve, who sent $25. Thank you for the big super chat. Adam, why does archaeological evidence refute your Jews equals Israelites thesis? Clay tablets excavated at Nineveh, combined with 3 ancient languages engraved on the Behistun rock in Iran, all connect the lost tribes of Israel to Europeans via the Cimmerians and Scythians. Must read, quote, missing links discovered by E. Raymond Capt. Does that make any sense to you, Adam?
That sounds like Christian identity stuff.
It sounds like Christian identity to me, yeah.
Sounds like some wannabe Jews. We was Hebrews talk.
Let's see. Gorilla Hands sent $25. Hey guys, it's a lifelong Catholic. I'm going to agree with Dave on forgiveness. God doesn't want us to waste our energy on vengeance. Now I believe he wants us to solve the issue, whether it's jail time or hanging, but he wants us to move on. Most importantly, never relax. True. Mermaid Marie sent a big super chat, $50.
Thank you.
Yes, this is my favorite kind of Backlash content. Excellent stream. Plus, Rebecca looks absolutely gorgeous. Love you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No simping.
It's a chick. Who cares?
It's okay. Now I'm refreshing Power Chat. Hold on a second. We've got to go back. There was also, and I have to read these too because I missed them. This is from Yojimbo Rockford, who sent $10. I did for those of you who are unaware, where is our thingy dingy? Come here. I did a solo stream a couple days ago exposing this local Christian Zionist church. I think it's worth listening to. I mean, I made it. But Yojimbo Rockford sent $10 while that was premiering, saying, I like the local gossip on North Idaho shenanigans. It's kind of quaint hearing the small town doings, except for all the, bad shit going on. And another $10. I remember when you asked Charlie Kirk how anal sex was going to help us win the culture war. It was about 3 or 4 months into watching the Backlash before I realized that was you.
Yeah.
That's how dumb-tarded I is.
No, it was a long time ago.
We love our people that retard max on this show.
Yes.
Retard maxing, absolutely allowed on the Backlash.
Never did get an answer to that question.
I never did, and I never will now. It's sad. Bill Biz sent $50.
Thank you.
Great to see Adam and Devon on the show. Thank you for the big super chat. It is great to have them on. Book Track Group sent $10 on Rumble. Adam, have you read Judges chapters 19 through 21? I would say this is how we should be. Dave, you're not alone. It's okay, buddy. I haven't even read Judges chapters 19 through 20.
I'd have to read it to see if I've read it before. I don't remember.
Let me see if I can get.
And if I did read it, very likely I forgot what was in there.
Let me see. I'm going to ask Grok. Can you please summarize Judges chapters 19 through 21 in like 3 sentences? Let's see what this comes back with.
This is the best episode we've ever done.
Levite's concubine is brutally assaulted and dies, promoting the Levite to rally the Israelites against the tribe of Benjamin, where the crime occurred. The Israelites wage war on Benjamin, nearly wiping them out, but later provide wives for the surviving Benjaminites to preserve the tribe. These events highlight the moral chaos and tribal conflict in Israel during a time when everyone did, quote, what was right in their own eyes, unquote. Interesting. I kind of see where he's coming from with that. It's weird.
That's Old Testament. New Testament is turn the other cheek, and vengeance is of the Lord. That's the old law that passed away.
Yeah,
it's been fulfilled. Now there's a new law.
What's the out of curiosity, because I really don't know, like what's the Catholic view of like Old Testament versus New Testament? Like a lot of Christians think that like the Old Testament's mostly just there for like historical purposes, and that everything in the New Testament that's like the real deal. Is that am I saying that right? Would that be like what the Catholics would view it?
In a sense, so the Old Testament is with a veil on. It is kind of hazy and this is of course why Protestants dwell on the Old Testament so much. I mean, you go to a Protestant church service and like 90% of the scripture that they read is going to be from the Old Testament. It's because it's hazy, it's not well defined, it's as if through a veil. And so the way that Catholics look at it is usually through the lens of the New Testament, so seeing how something in the Old Testament was fulfilled in Christ in the New Testament, or like, for example, there are these, and I remember I approached one of my priests because I had a problem with it. I was praying the Psalms for Lent one year, and there's a psalm that says, take their little ones and dash their heads out upon a stone. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is murderous, genocidal rhetoric. And when I talked to a priest about it, he's like, no, this is about your sins. This is not literal. The Jews interpret it as literal. And like we saw that video of the Ukrainian that took the little 5-year-old kid at the airport and smashed his head, put him in a coma in the hospital. But the way that the Catholics would like interpret these types of verses about Amalek and dash their little ones upon a stone would be about sin. It'd be about taking your sins while they're small, dash them on a stone and uproot the sin from your life before it grows roots and all of that kind of stuff. So
couldn't they have said that?
Well, that's what the commentaries are for. Yo, Jimbo Rockford sent $10 on Rumble. Hey, Dave, I sent you a couple super chats the other night during the Dark Dave rant, but you weren't reading super chats. You just wanted to make sure you got the money. We did, and we just read those. Thank you very much, Yo, Jimbo Rockford, for that. I'm going to be doing another, if you guys liked it, I'm going to be doing another one of those, less focused on just the one church, but on the subversion of Idaho through Christian Zionism.
It was really good. It was good work.
Thank you. I was sake in my glass. I was nervous. It's the first time I've ever done a solo stream like
really?
that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been doing this for like 10 years, and it's the first time I've ever done
the hardest kind of stream to do.
Yep. Anonymous sent $10. My problem with Catholicism is that when white Protestants or pagans, quote, kill them all, God knows his own, unquote, is when the non-whites, gays, and Jews, it's we accept their differences and lead them to the light. Okay. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
I'm not sure I understood.
I don't. Yeah. Sometimes that happens with our super chatters. We love them very much.
Retard maxing. No, that wasn't an incoherent.
No, that makes sense. I guess Catholicism would just kill them all and let God sort them out. But when it's non-whites, gays, and Jews, we must accept their. I see what he's saying. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's
he saying?
I don't know. I don't. What he's saying is Catholicism will be like, when it's against white Protestants, kill them all and let God sort it out. But when it's non-whites, gays, and Jews, we must accept their differences and then lead them to the light. I see where he's coming from.
There's an element of truth to that, I would say.
There's an element of truth there. Book Track Grooves sent $10 on Rumble. If a church does not accept criticism, fail to understand that God and Paul criticized several churches. Adam, have you read Romans 13? Corey Mahler has a very interesting thought on it.
What do you think about Corey Mahler?
I think he's not a real Christian, and he was excommunicated from his church, and he's coping and trying to make a version of Christianity that isn't real. And I debated him also, so that was on iHypocrite. If anybody wants to see it, it's his most popular live stream.
Oh yes, yeah. That was actually more recent. Devon, what do you think about Corey?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I don't go. See, here's the thing. I don't really get involved like a lot of the Christian online stuff because I'm really not that religious. Like I was raised very religious, and I have a very religious background. If Mormon was an ethnicity, I'd be ethnically Mormon because my family goes all the way back to the founding. And that's how I view Christianity because that's how I was raised. I have an understanding of how other Christians interpret things. I feel like the brainwashing worked. I'm a good guy. I'm a good person. And I don't obsess about religion that much. I don't think about it that much. I mean, I think about it to the extent I care more. Honestly, I care more. My big thing that I think about all the time is white people surviving. That's what I think about all the time.
Yes.
I do want to point out there is a little bit of, I don't know if it's hypocrisy or what the proper word would be, but Adam, you're not Christian. right? And so you don't think that there is a true version of Christianity at all. You think the whole thing is fake and gay. Whereas, so for you to say that Corey Mahler isn't a real Christian, you don't think any Christianity is
it
real.
was a little bit of tongue in cheek, Dave. He did get excommunicated from his church. He would be disavowed and condemned by like all the major churches of the world.
Wait, is that the Lutheran guy, the guy with the beard?
Right? Yes, it is. And we've had him on this podcast.
I don't know him, but
we've had him on the show before. And, I disagree with his Lutheran takes. He's also very anti-Catholic. But at the same time, I do think that his read of Lutheranism is a lot closer to what Martin Luther was actually doing, as opposed to like the LCMS or whatever these, rainbow flag hanging goofy Lutherans are doing anymore. Same goes for Methodism and Anglicanism and all of these. They've all gone gay. And there's,
he's always online saying that people that reject Jesus are Jewish. He's just like Joel Webben said on your show a few weeks ago.
It is a very Jewish thing.
There's nothing more Jewish than rejecting Jesus.
Very true. And there's nothing more pagan. True. There's nothing more pagan than converting to Christianity.
Nothing more Christian than converting, being a Christian Zionist or an atheist. But Dave, this is not good faith rhetoric to say that people that don't believe in the Jewish Messiah are Jewish. The Jews believe in messiahs, but they just don't. At least some of the Jews didn't believe in Jesus. But people that don't even believe in the prophecies at all, people that don't believe the book at all, that don't care about a Jewish Messiah at all, to call that Jewish is bad faith.
I don't think it's bad faith at all. I mean, the Jews don't accept Jesus. That's why they're Jews. That's the whole. That's
but they do believe in messiahs, though.
They believe in the idea of a Messiah, but their version of a Messiah, which is why Christ said what he said, that my kingdom is not of this world, is because they are awaiting a political savior. They're awaiting a Mashiach that will lead them to slaughter all non-Jews and usher in an era of Jewish supremacism that, will have how many slaves that each Jew will have. You know what I mean? They want this kind of bloodthirsty triumph over non-Jews. You know what I mean? And that's why they rejected Jesus Christ, because instead of leading the people to a physical domination of the world and a physical kingship and, a violent overthrow of the Roman Empire, he said, no, pick up your cross and follow me. You got to suffer.
It was a peaceful takeover of the Roman Empire. And the Christians that the first Jews that were Christians were still referencing all the same verses about a Messiah, many of the same verses about a Messiah that the Jews still do today. The point is if you reject all Jewish messiahs, if you just reject the whole concept of Jewish prophecy and the Bible and Jewish messianism, to call us Jewish because we don't believe in the Jewish Messiah is absurd. And it's a talking point that only makes you look foolish and is never going to get anywhere. So are Hindus Jewish because they don't believe in Jesus? Are Chinese people in China, are they Jewish because they don't believe in Jesus? Anybody that doesn't, so you're a spiritual Jew and you're inwardly circumcised and you're the true Israel if you believe in Jesus, who is the Jewish Messiah. But if you don't believe in him, you're also Jewish. It's just like, if everybody's Jewish, then nobody's Jewish. And it's a silly thing to say. And Joel Webden and Corey Mahler, and I saw you say it was based to, you should knock that off. It's silly.
Book Track Groove sent $10.
Wait, hold on. I want to address something that I'm seeing a lot in the live chat. This chat is a great example of how our future is going to work out. This is what I'm concerned about. I was hoping to hash out some of our differences, but I'm concerned that people are not going to put pro-white interests first. And as far as I'm concerned, if Christianity is an impediment to that, then I'm kind of out. I'm kind of out on that one. I want Christians to rally against some sort of pro-white, ethnic, tribal philosophy. If that's impossible, then I think a lot of people in the dissident right are going to be like, no, like Devon said, we have to deal with practical outcomes first. So I was kind of hoping this was more of a unifying conversation, but it was a beautiful disaster. Well, I had a great time.
You knew that was where it was going to be. I mean, the most practical thing.
It's been a disaster.
It's been great. It's been great.
This has been wonderful. This is our finest episode. I'm so happy with the content that we're creating. This has been great. But this is the reason that I brought everybody here, because pro-white unity should be of the utmost importance?
Well, I think the issue that you're seeing is I'm race first, and lots of people are race first, but most people, especially if they're religious Christians, are God first, and that's always going to be the way they think. And look, whatever, right or wrong, that's the way they're going to look at it, and so that is always going to be an issue. Because if it all depends on your interpretation of God at that point, then, right? So if your interpretation of God is that God favors white people, then I guess that's okay. But if it's not, if it is, universal in nature, then you're always going to have that conflict. You're always going to have that confrontation because you are going to side with God before you're going to side with your people.
Do you believe that God favors white people?
What? I don't get it. I just don't even understand the argument.
Well, I suppose Devon is saying
I favor my people. I am Christian. They're not mutually exclusive. I don't know why there would be
right.
at
But
odds
if you
with
had
each
to
other.
make a choice, right? Like if you had to, and I'm trying to think of like some hypothetical, but just generally speaking, if you had to make a choice between the success of the white race and making here's a good hypothetical, and it's an extreme hypothetical, and I recognize that. If you had to flip a switch and it's up or down, if you or A or B, white people will live forever in white communities and be whatever their destiny is up to them to but they'll not have any interference from non-whites, and they'll be able to survive and do whatever it is they want to do. Or B, you flip another switch, Christianity will live on forever and all white people go extinct. I guess A would be, if you flipped up A, Christianity would be gone from the earth. So that's the choice you have to make. Either if you had to choose, Christianity goes away, but white people survive, or B, Christianity survives, but all white people literally go extinct. What would you pick?
I wouldn't pick either because it's a false dialectic.
Okay.
It's a false
dichotomy.
I
know it's an extreme,
it's,
but I'm just saying, like, you can see where I'm getting at, though, right? There's a lot of people that would, a lot of Christians that would consider themselves, I think, even pro-white, that if they really were forced gun to the head to answer that question, would pick Christianity over their people.
Yeah, but
that's whatever. Right? That's their priority.
And you're not a true Christian if they don't. Also.
In a way, I mean, do they really believe it, right? Like if they don't choose Christianity, if they're not willing to sacrifice literally their entire people for Christianity, I think Adam's right to some degree that they don't really believe it. Because if you really believe that this was God and this was coming from God, you should be willing to sacrifice literally anything. I mean, what's the story of the guy that's supposed to sacrifice his son on the mountain? That sort of thing, right? So, but that's my point is, though, if unless Christianity had something in it that was explicitly favoring white people, you're always going to have this conflict. You're always going to have a conflict where when those two things come into come into conflict with each other. Which
but when do they come into conflict?
It's not that it's always happening, but that's what you're going to see.
But when do they actually come into conflict? I mean, it's one thing because the Catholic Church has gone astray, in my opinion, with its teachings a little bit since Vatican II, right? Yeah. And so we've seen a crisis in the priesthood, a crisis of vocations. There aren't any nuns anymore. There aren't as many priests anymore. And the pews are empty. People had a mass exodus from the Catholic Church in the 1970s. And as a way to counteract that and to keep the butts in the pews and to keep the money coming on Sunday, the Catholic Church went into an unholy alliance with groups like HIAS and these Jewish immigration services and the federal government so that they could get kickbacks to supplement the income that they basically lost by going down this woke road.
In a manner of speaking, the Catholic Church chose the Catholic Church over white people, is what you're saying.
I'm saying no.
That's because if they cared more about the survival of white people, they wouldn't have mattered that they were going to get money from HIAS, that they were going to have more Mexicans in their pews. They would have chosen white people over the future of the Catholic Church, but they chose the future of the Catholic Church, which at the expense of white people, is what you're saying.
Well, I think,
and that's fine. And that's fine. Whatever. I'm not trying to make an argument.
Maybe a different way of putting it is that the Catholic Church chose the friendship of the world over proclaiming the truth that they had always. Instead, they watered down the controversial teachings that, like outside the church, there is no salvation. They don't preach that anymore. They preach ecumenism now. They preach that, all roads lead to heaven. It's just that Catholicism is the privileged path. That's literally what Bishop Barron said to Ben Shapiro when he interviewed him.
But in a manner of speaking, the Catholic Church chose the continuation of the Catholic Church over the continuation of the white race. And why else would they, right? It's not like, the Catholic Church has never had any kind of obligation to the white race, right? So I'm not saying that that it doesn't make sense or it's bad, but that's my point, is that if your priority, and mine is the survival of the white race, the destiny of the white race, then that's where I'm always going to make my decisions and my choices in service of that priority. And I think that most, and not just Christians, just religious people generally, they are going to prioritize their deity. They're going to prioritize their religion over their people. And now sometimes, like with Jews, the two would go together, right? That's kind of their superpower, is their religion is directly tied to their ethnicity. It's directly tied to their people. So they're never in that weird conflict. They're never in that, do I pick being Jewish or do I pick being Jewish? It's like, no, it's the same thing. So I think that's the disadvantage that a lot of white people have. And that's kind of what we're running into right now.
The B'nai B'rith honored one of the popes. I have to look up to see which one exactly, but they honored the Pope, the B'nai B'rith, the parent company of the ADL. Mm-hmm. They honored the Pope because he was opposing paganism and racialism.
When was this?
It was a few decades ago.
Oh, okay. So like
I'm trying to look it up.
John Paul II or
exact details.
What's his face? Was it Benedict? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, I think personally that the B'nai B'rith has blackmail on the Pope. You can see that they started having conferences in Rome, in the Vatican, starting in, I think, 1984 was the first ADL-sponsored thing. And then, of course, we've got Opus Dei now working with Paul Singer. And
hey, how about that thing Devon played on his show? I played it too. It was the old, from like the 60s, the Catholic organization teamed up with the B'nai B'rith to promote being pro-Jewish. Remember that?
No. And that was actually pre-Vatican II by like a couple years.
Send me the clip and I'll play it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's long.
Dude.
It might hurt your feelings a lot actually to watch it though. It's literally the Catholic Church and the B'nai B'rith got together and made a "Don't Be an Anti-Semite" special that they aired on NBC affiliates back in I think it was either late 50s or early 60s. And it's over and over and over telling Catholics that they are, they need to love Jews and they shouldn't be anti-Semitic. And, they literally say Jesus is a Jew in that Catholic produced special, pre-Vatican II Catholic produced special. They literally say Jesus was a Jew, and how could we worship a Jew and also hate Jews? It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's literally the whole.
I can do you one better. I can do you one better. In 1926, there was a group called the Opus Sacerdotale Amici Israel. They're the priestly clerical association of the Friends of Israel. And these are the guys, they tried to change the Mass. They tried to get the word perfidious removed from the Good Friday prayer for the Jews. And eventually they were actually condemned by the Holy Office. And Cardinal Raphael Mary Duval said, quote, "I hope that these Amici Israel will not fall into a trap laid by the Jews themselves, who insinuate themselves throughout modern society and seek with whatever means to minimize the memory of their history and to take advantage of the goodwill of Christians." So this has been ongoing for a long time, the struggle back and forth between Judaism and Catholicism, and the Jews trying to undermine Catholicism and warp it the way that they've done with Protestantism, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. Let's get back to
You should definitely watch that video, though, Dave.
I'd love to.
We'll find it and we'll send it to you. You will get a kick out of it. And by the way, I looked it up. B'nai B'rith honored Pope Pius XI in 1939. So we're talking over 20 years before Vatican II, right? And they said that what?
I was going to say, this is one of the other things, the Nazis never actually shut down B'nai B'rith. You know, they did shut down Freemasonry. They shut down a lot of these.
Were they even there to begin with?
Hell yeah, they were. They assassinated a German diplomat in France, which kicked off Germany's thrust into France. So yeah, you can Google it. That's one of the organizations that they didn't shut down, and it's involved with the Havara Agreement, the transfer agreement, and all of that kind of stuff. So it does get a little murky. I don't understand why, if the Nazis were going to shut down Freemasonry, why wouldn't they shut down Jewish Freemasonry, which is basically.
Hold on, I just
B'nai
looked it up
B'rith.
on ChatGPT. It says they dissolved and banned B'nai B'rith soon after they came to power.
That's not true.
1930. Hold on. After 1933, they targeted Jewish organizations. April 1933, B'nai B'rith lodges were ordered to close by the Gestapo.
I'd have to.
By 1937, B'nai B'rith activity was formally outlawed. So I don't know. Fact check, not true there.
It might have been 1937 that this guy in B'nai B'rith assassinated one of these German ministers, and then they closed it down. So anyway,
I think governments have used B'nai B'rith as spy organizations in the past. So it might have been something like that.
Absolutely, I
Jewish
completely
spy networks.
Yes,
so already in 1939, the B'nai B'rith was honoring the Pope for opposing paganism and racialism. Like that should tell you a lot.
There is. So, the Pope did write something called, was it Mit Brennen der Sorge, which was a condemnation of the kind of idolatry of race, the idolization of race. And I would agree with that. And was it Reformed? American Reform on Twitter has a lot of really good quotes about that kind of stuff. There is a kind of deification of race. And the church is opposed to that, but they are not like opposed to the white race as such. Anyway.
Oh no, I'm not saying that they're trying to kill white people.
Right. No, I don't think you were saying that.
I'm just saying they don't favor white people, and which would make sense. I mean, most of their members aren't white, and so obviously it makes sense that they wouldn't favor white people. But I'm just saying that that's kind of the issue is. With Jews, they never have to make that choice. Oh, my religion or my race. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Whereas Christians are often have to make that choice, and that's why there's an issue. That's why we run into all these problems.
All right, so let's get back to, we're on like page 4. We've got a shit ton of super chats.
Should we just do $10 and up?
We already are.
Okay.
Book Track Group sent $10. Romans 12:17, repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. 18, if possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Okay.
Thank you, guys. And it would be great if you guys could send us stuff where we didn't have to look anything up.
Yeah. I am not a Bible thumper, okay? Ask me about the Fourth Lateran Council. Maybe I might know something about that. But anyway, Book Track Group sent $10. If a church does not accept criticism, fail to understand that God and Paul criticized several churches. Adam, have you read Romans 13? Okay, we read that already. The new covenant and temple is in spirit. 1 Peter 4:16, yet if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name. Okay. Thunderstorm 9 sent $10 on Rumble. One God for you, Goy, my Canaanite pantheon for me, humping the wall for Asherah in a Kabbalah sex magic ritual. Your God will be one of our rabbis.
By the way, speaking of that wall, was there any? I read somewhere a while back that wall that they suspect it was actually not part of Solomon's temple. It's actually part of a Roman.
It's a Roman fort.
Like
Really?
barracks or
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah, that's a Roman fort. That's like the last standing wall of a Roman fort because the prophecy was fulfilled that not a stone will be left upon a stone. And so if you've got stones stacked on top of one another, that is not Jerusalem. It was completely razed to the ground. It's a Roman fort. And not only that, but I think some archaeologists have found that the location of the temple is several hundred yards away.
So it's just a humiliation ritual at this point.
Well, no, yes, it is a humiliation ritual, especially for all these world diplomats that get sent there. It's a blackmail ritual, but they are trying to conjure the third. I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. Anyway,
so my take on the wall question is, like Dave just said, a lot of Christians like to say, well, that can't be the temple wall because that would mean that Jesus's prophecy didn't come true. And a lot of time that's the only evidence that I ever see. Just so people know, officially, ChatGPT does say, no, it is the Western Wall is built by Herod the Great. And also I don't even see why it would contradict the prophecy, because like a wall isn't necessarily the temple, so
Right.
it still could be some. But I've looked into this before, this claim too, because I was curious, because that would be funny if they're praying to a Roman fort wall. But
That's why I thought it would be funny.
yeah, but no, officially, like according to the experts, they do say it is made by Herod the Great and not a Roman fort.
All right. Interesting. Of course, ChatGPT is not like made by
Jewish.
Jews or anything. Sam Altman. Book Track Groove sent $10. Song of Solomon 5:10 through 16. Solomon was white. Adam. Right now we are trying to rectify our Christian issues. Devon. You're being dishonest about what is truth. Have you read Romans 11?
Have I read Romans 11? Yes. And what was the verse about? What was it?
Well, for
white?
Adam,
Moses
it was
white?
Song of Solomon 5:10 through 16. And for Devon, it was Romans 11.
Come on, guys.
Bruh.
How am I being dishonest for not knowing the Bible verse? I'm not being dishonest. I don't know Romans 11.
There you go.
I don't know what that. Well, how about you tell me where I was dishonest instead of saying you're being dishonest? Romans 11.
Devin is not a liar.
I'm gonna just start saying that to everyone I meet. now.
Romans 11 is like the most pro-Jewish chapter there is in the Bible, by
Right.
the way.
No, it is. It is. And it's a problem. I actually argued with the priest one night over a bottle of scotch till about 2:00 in the morning, and I didn't change his mind. But he was wrong. I'm right. I'm not going to out him.
Okay, I'm looking at Psalms of Solomon chapter 5, and it does not say Solomon is white. What was the verse again? Do you still have it up?
16,
I'm curious.
10 through 16. Let me pull it up too. DRBO. I use the drbo.org, by the way. Let's see. 5:10 through 16.
Dude, this is
My
like
beloved
this
is white and
metaphorical
ruddy.
poetry.
My
clearly.
beloved is white and ruddy, chosen out of thousands. His head is as the finest gold, his locks as branches of palm trees, black as raven, his eyes as doves. Upon brooks of waters which are washed with milk and sit beside the plentiful streams, his cheeks are as beds of aromatical spices set by the perfumes. His lips are as lilies dropping choice myrrh.
To take this and say, look, he was white. This is like poetry. It says right there, his hair was as black as raven. His head is the finest gold. His locks wavy, black as raven. This is not giving a physical description of what Solomon looked like. This is the type of copes the Christian identity come up with. His legs are alabaster columns set on bases of gold. Like, you can take that literally too.
I mean, my legs do look like alabaster. I mean, they are pretty. Oof, you know.
His
I gotta get
lips
some more
are
sun.
lilies, dripping liquid myrrh.
Garrett sent $10. A Jewish god fits into the white psyche like a round peg in a square hole. Hail the old gods, white gods for white people. Stop worshiping the psycho evil mass baby murdering, genital mutilating, Gentile hating Jew in the sky. Could you be more specific, Garrett?
I think that's one of your guys, Dave.
I do. Handsome Truth 1488 sent $10 on
this the
Rumble.
real Handsome
I have
Truth?
no earthly idea. How are you going to fight against Jewish supremacy when you believe they were chosen and that Jesus is king of the Jews? Wake up, white people. The Jew on the cross is the final boss.
I bet that is the real Handsome
That probably
Truth.
is
Yeah.
the real Handsome Truth.
Sounds like something he'd say.
I will break the $10 super chat thing because he sent 2 in a row. I want you to say, quote, he died for your sins, but do it in a Jewish voice with small violin in the background. Christian churches are just Holocaust museums. Bro. No. Nope. Does it matter? Sent $20. Oy vey, longtime lurker enjoying the meltdown. Arm yourselves accordingly, but be united under God's common law. Love one another as yourself and ultimately demolish your enemies when called to. Based.
Okay, I like the way that sounds.
Anonymous sent $10. The kill them all thing was in reference to the Cathars Christian sect siege of Albion. You know, there's nothing to make you feel stupid like doing a live stream and then your own people are like pulling this historical stuff up. And I'm like, I need to go study. I will be back in a minute. Anonymous sent $25. Has Devon ever heard of Christian identity? If he's looking for a pro-white form of Christianity, I'd recommend that he look up William Finnick of Christogenia.org.
That's
think,
more
Yeah,
of the
people keep
Christian
saying that.
identity slop.
Well, look here. If I thought that was historically accurate, if I thought that there was a racial component that Jesus was white and the disciples were white, or what if there was some kind of racial component where it was white, I would be all for it, honestly. But I don't think that that's historically accurate, and that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, I think that I would agree that Christian identity is like a cope. It's a cope that was developed in like the 19. Well, I mean, really, it came from British Israelism.
It comes from British Israelism.
It comes from British Israelism.
Right. But here's the thing, though. In a way, they're trying to address the problem we're talking about, which is an admission that there's a problem.
Right.
It's like they recognize there's an issue here. We can't sit here and be oppositional to Jews and yet also, have this very Jewish connection to our theology, and or at least that's not without issue, right? That's going to create problems, and so they're seeking to resolve that issue, which is an admission that there is an issue.
Well, the issues come about.
I think that's worth at least, I'm okay with them believing that, or whatever, because in a way, I'd rather. If all the people in that stadium, those 90,000 people, were Christian identity Christians, that would have been way better than what we had,
Yeah, I mean, I think that Christian identity is trying to solve a problem that was created by this splintering breakaway, these different interpretations that have been weaponized against white people by Jews, that, if the church was still united and one, and it is in the Catholic Church, but anyway. The Winged Hussar sent $10. By the way, we had a great time with him this weekend. He came out from where he lives and spent the weekend going around. It was really fun. Good guy. As an increasingly disaffected Mormon, I detest the psyop of the Charlie Kirk funeral and the increasingly pacifist messaging of the LDS Church. It reeks of restorative Soros justice and is leading white people and Christians in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. This mega churchianity thing that was birthed at the Charlie Kirk funeral is going to be quite problematic over the next 10 years.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It was already a problem.
I wouldn't say they birthed it there, but they took it to another level.
It took on a new
fire
form.
And stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it definitely took on a new form, and a new level was reached with that, of this fusing the political and the religious together.
Have you guys ever been to a mega church, like attended one?
I have not.
So it's pretty wild. Like I dated this
people
chick that
speaking
worked
in tongues. It's wild. Yeah.
What's that?
People speaking in tongues, and it's crazy. It's a crazy experience.
I didn't go to that. So there's people. In fact, DC people know what I'm talking about. McLean Bible Church. It's basically where like the FBI goes
CIA,
to church. Where it's a big fucking church. And I dated this chick that worked there, and it was what creeped me out is she worked in the nursery, and it was so big. First of all, it's got a parking garage, like an 8-level parking garage, and they shuttle you from the parking garage to the church. You get in there, it's like a mall. There's like coffee shops and stuff in here. It's so big that when you have your kids with you, you bring them to this place, and they literally print out a barcode sticker and put it on your kid, and then scan them into the daycare. And then when you go to pick them up after church, that you have it's almost like they give you like a ticket, like a valet ticket to pick up your kid, and they scan them out. And she worked at that nursery. When they would scan you in, you could put in notes about like, oh, this kid's a behavioral problem or whatever. And so when they would scan him in, like, oh no, this Billy's, he's like a code red. Anyway, so I go there because I had to go there once because she was getting honored for her service in the nursery or whatever. And they were going to give her some kind of award or something. And I was like, all right, I'll go. And we go there, and I was just blown away, just obviously by how big it was and how there it is, how fucking nuts. I just was like, how is this a thing? And then it's time for her to get her award, and the preacher guy didn't even show up. He's on a TV. Or he's giving the award out to not even live via satellite, live or via recording. He was doing the sermon, and that's how this place was so big. As big as it was, they had satellite locations.
Yes,
so you'd have to where you would just watch it on TV. So I mean, it was fucking crazy. But anyway, that's unfortunately, it's very attractive to people. See, this is when I did my Paula White stream, warning people about Trump and how he viewed Christianity via Paula White, and no one wanted to fucking listen. I think that vindicated, like, all you had to do was watch that fucking monstrosity at the Cardinal Stadium to know that I'm 100% vindicated on that stream now.
Look at the size of that
Good
parking
Lord.
lot. Holy shit.
I told you.
Look at this thing. Can I get a little guy down there?
It's like the Jesus industrial complex.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
there is. I will not disagree that there is a version of that where it's been weaponized, and it's, you know, and the CIA has clearly weaponized. I mean, they started giving Opus Dei money in 1971. So yeah, there's Christianity and what is it? Liberation theology, which was used by the CIA to do revolutions and regime change in South America. You know. So it is manipulable, and that is why they say if even an angel of heaven comes and preaches a different doctrine, let him be cursed. Anyway, Anonymous sent $25. Christian identity is white race folk first Christianity, and if you're looking to unify various factions of white Christians, you ought to at least seriously cover the topic and review the evidence which supports Christian identity.
That's the thing, is we have, and it's not true, and you're not winning arguments, and you're a fringe, powerless internet minority, and it's not going anywhere. So if it's not true and it's not real and you can't win the argument, what good is it ever going to be?
Yeah, and you know, the other thing too is that the only Christians that I'm aware of that have ever like committed acts of terrorism were Christian identity people, like the Phineas priesthood types back in the 90s that blew up the Spokesman Review building in the federal courthouse in Spokane.
Seriously?
Yeah, you didn't know about that?
Wait, is this supposed to be an argument against them? Because
How about the attack over the weekend, the Mormon church getting attacked?
Yeah, we have, I think I have a tweet up about this. Didn't I?
Everybody was saying like this is Christian persecution, but what I saw is the guy was a Christian, and he was still a Christian, and he was a former Mormon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he drove his truck into the church, I guess got out, took out a gun, shot several people, and then burned the church to the ground.
Good Lord.
And this, of course, is also that happened within 12 hours of the president of the Mormon church dying, right? He was 101 years old. I forget his name. But he
was
died.
this one of those guys that are like, Mormons aren't really Christians, so I'm gonna go shoot
Well,
them.
I think so. There was an interview that was done with a guy running for office in Utah, I guess, that had door knocked his house, and then the guy, this church shooter, started going off about how Mormonism is antichrist and blah blah blah. And
See,
I guess
this is what I'm talking about. It's fucking. I had to grow up around that shit where it's just like, you guys don't, like, we're basically the same, you know, just because we disagree with like some, you know, different rituals and dogma and whatever, it's pretty much the same. Like, end of the day, like, functionally, we believe in everything, you know, like all the same values.
Got to get Sam Parker back on the show. Natural Selectionist sent $20. Charlemagne spread Christianity by the sword and gave Jewish merchants control of the Holy Roman Empire 1,200 years ago. The problem of Christianity empowering Jews did not begin in the past century. It's always been there. You know, there's been issues with the money lending and all of that. The, you know, princes wanting the crown jewels, not being able to get money for it, so they go to a Jew, take out a
We've
loan.
had some problems.
We've had some issues. But it's not doctrinally or structurally. That the structural problems have happened within the last 70 years, at least among Catholics. With the Protestants, it goes back a little bit longer. Anonymous sent $25. Christianity sprung from white people because archaeology and ancient historical writers affirmed that the Israelites were white and that they migrated into northwestern Europe and became Europeans. Bro, the Christian identity people, like, they don't even get they don't even get like the prophecy, right? There's Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? And the prophecy is that the sons of Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem. Right? And so that's like the whole point of Christianity. When the Jews killed Jesus Christ and they lost the religion, then it was Japheth that adopted it and dwelled in the tents of Shem. So your argument is false based on biblical prophecy and scripture anyway. So I don't get
the foreign branches being, it's the natural branches being cut off, so the foreign branches, the wild branches, can be grafted in. So it's even Corey Mailer says Christian identity is retarded and stupid.
Based. All right, we need to get him back on the show too.
But I like how they're funding the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the.
They
big
really
super
want
chats.
us to agree with them that we're really the Israelites. I think it's anti-white. Actually, it's an anti-white thing to like shit on your own people and say we didn't exist and that you want to be these patriarchs and prophets of the Bible so bad. I'm not interested in that at all.
Well, and I also think
my people are from Northwestern Europe, not the Middle East.
Right. And I mean, I think there's also this kind of element of like you can look at Judaism and their fusion of the Jewish people are God to them, right? Like to them, the Jewish people is God. And so I think, people look at that and they look at the structural power that the Jews have got over the world at this point, and they're like, well, wait, how do we be more like them? And so that does kind of arise out of a kind of jealousy. And so they concoct this new read on Christianity that allows them to act like Jews, basically.
Right.
And
did you see that video that went viral this week with that conservative homosexual Negro man?
What?
And he's talking
Rob
about
Smith?
I don't know. He's got white hair. Oh, no. He's talking about
with the chick with the girl.
Yes.
Yeah, I scrolled past that.
No, you got to watch it. It's crazy. And they're talking about how we should be more like Jews, and we're just jealous because we don't have the same kind of networking and high IQ.
Bruh.
It was just astounding. I'm like, this coming from the supposed conservatives, you gay black conservative man.
Bruh. Anonymous sent $25. Jesus is not a Jew and never was. He was a legitimate Judahite Israelite, descendant of Phares. The modern day Jews are descendants of Esau, Edomites, the ancient enemy of God and his Israelite people, because they were race mixers.
Hold on. My dear friend Robin sent me a message
CIG.
about this. DNA ties Ashkenazi Jews to a group of 330 people from the Middle Ages. She said that it is untrue that Jesus was a Jew in the
sense that we know now. Yeah, I would agree with that. Anonymous sent $10. Relying on ChatGPT, Grok, and AI to push your arguments is lazy and foolish. If you don't see how limited and flawed their abilities are, it's on you. Make your own LLM and train it on specific tasks. Don't use slop. Freecodecamp.com. Freecodecamp.com.
I've trained Grok.
Well, you've trained your Grok.
Yeah.
There is Maple AI, not an ad for Maple AI, but they are pretty based. They use secure enclaves. You can do stuff like that. I've wanted to see somebody do like a project where you take AI and feed it like every Catholic council.
But all AI is going to be AI
is not intelligence.
It's not intelligence, right? It's drawing from broader data, which is
pattern recognition.
Yes. So you have to just like taking in any kind of data, you have to accept that there's going to be some sort of inherent bias and use your own discernment. But AI is a very useful tool. If you're not using it, then
you're going to get lost.
You are going to get lost.
You have to use AI.
You can learn a lot from it for sure.
Yeah, dang, what was I going to say? I was going to say something, but I forget. It's okay. I'll think of it later. Anonymous sent $10. Make white babies and keep them away from filthy things. Very true.
I think we can all agree on that.
We can all agree on that. Going back, what the hell happened? We had like 5 or 6 chats on Entropy, and they're all gone now.
Ruh-roh.
Son of biatch.
Why does Entropy do this?
Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent $10. Every major American firearms company is Zionist, and every gun rights group, the Gun Owners of America, NRA, etc., in America is Zionist, is supporting 2A groups and private firearm ownership also a Zionist trick that whites should avoid, or is that the Zionists having infiltrated every source of power in the United States? Anybody on the panel want to take
every
that one?
every right-wing source of power? That's the problem. Is every right-wing institution? The mainstream right. I'm obviously meaning it's been infiltrated by Jews for decades. I mean, really since the neocons, that's been the case.
Yeah.
You could say before that. Goldwater was a Jew, obviously. So I mean, it's been Jewed up for a long time.
True. Let's see here. By the way, we have, don't forget our crypto super chat platform on the website. You can send us super chats directly and none of that 30% skimming off the top if you wanted to send some Bitcoin. Queensboro, I had to say it. Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent $20 on Entropy. Christ being a pacifist is a common talking point of gun banners, and we all know who funds them. Christ rebuking Peter to put away his sword had to do with unjust aggression. Peter attacked an unarmed servant instead of the armed soldiers. Had Christ been a pacifist, he would not have ordered his disciples to buy swords. True and false there, I think. But,
Wait, what is false?
Well, did he attack it? I don't think the issue was that he attacked an unarmed servant. I think that the point was that he had to die. He had to be taken into custody, tortured, put on a show trial, and then crucified.
Wasn't it a Roman soldier coming to arrest Jesus and he cut off his ear?
Yeah, Malchus. Malchus was his name.
Right.
Every single time sent $100. Big super chat. Thank you very much. Raced first, bitches. Demographics are destiny.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can't argue with that either.
SS sent $10. Christ said his return was near. The 66th and 66 to 73 AD war was the tribulation. Events are written about, including a heavenly host in the sky by Tacitus and Josephus. The Holy Roman Empire from 800 to 1800 was the millennial kingdom's rule of iron, Revelation 19. The last 200 years have been the season of Satan, Revelation 20. I much more agree with that take than what the evangelicals do.
Isn't that full preterism?
It's either full or partial preterism, but yeah, I mean, I believe that when you talk about a lot of the stuff, that one will be in the field, one will be taken. All of the stuff about the rapture was about the tribulation and the destruction of Jerusalem. We are not living in the end times. Wake the fuck up. This is not happening. This is Zionist Jews that are like coming up with shit like, I'm going to get banned from YouTube for saying that, but COVID-19.
But the Catholic Church rejects preterism, though. So why would you say you agree more with that?
We do? That's news to me.
Yeah, I thought you just said that you agreed with preterism.
Well, I think it's partial preterism that the Catholic Church would. I don't know. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a theologian. I'm just like, I pray the rosary.
Okay, you're right. No, you're right. Partial. They do acknowledge a partial preterism.
There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm not crazy.
Full preterist is where they think Jesus already came. It was in the first century.
Right.
And that we're in the millennial kingdom, right?
Right.
And that,
so we
you
would
do believe Jesus is going to return, right?
He's going to return, but
Catholicism teaches Jesus is still coming back.
Yes, and that will be the end of the world. There is not going to be like a tribulation, thing that happens, or like a rapture thing that happens. When Jesus comes back, that's it. That's the end. We're going right into the general judgment, and it's over. It's not going to be this weird, he's going to come back and take his believers, and then there will be a 7-year period of tribulation ruled by the Antichrist and all of this stuff. Like that. That's not.
Who believes that?
The Christian Zionists.
Whoa.
The evangelicals think that then this
you
is
should
why
look
they're
into
so
Paula
dangerous.
White, what she believes. It's some
Yeah.
The scary thing is, this is the problem, is a lot of Americans believe this shit. Like a lot of Americans believe it.
Yeah, and
I'd say the majority of Trump
power,
voters
too.
believe it. Yeah, the majority of Trump voters believe that stuff.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why it is so dangerous, is because they actually want to bring about the end time scenario.
Yeah, they're trying to bring about the end of the world.
Yeah,
like literally
it's the same thing that the Jews are trying to do. It's the same thing that the Chabad Jews are trying to do, right? They're trying to hasten the coming of the Messiah by doing whatever works that they're doing over in Israel.
Well,
this is like the Chabad people.
That's why they get along so well. Yeah,
very true.
It's horrible.
Very true.
That's the issue. That's the problem.
I agree.
And look, even Mormons, I mean, they're not like that, but like the name, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's in the name. They believe that we're in the latter days of earth.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I think that kind of thinking is extremely problematic, and it gets people, like how many people were following that black TikToker that said that the rapture was going to happen last week? They sold their houses, ran up their credit card debt, overdrafted their bank accounts, and they're still here, and now they're totally screwed for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? And this happened in the 1970s too. There was a wave of it back then. All right, because we're at the end of the super chats, I'm going to read a couple of $5 ones. This one comes to us from Negro Spritzer, who sent $5.
I know what this one is.
Yeah, it's hi Devon. F the N word, F the K word, F the B word, F the N, the SN, F G J. Okay. You can pause and read what he said at the bottom. I'm not getting banned on YouTube.
That's one of mine.
Oh. That was strangely heartwarming.
All right, I think that actually catches us up on all of the super chats and questions. Thank you. Ford enthusiast on Entropy sent $14.88. We will secure our future. Thank you. Very. We now have $144.88 that have been donated on Entropy. So this is actually it's like prosody or something, right?
Oh, look at that.
144.88. That's really funny.
I think this was sufficient retribution for the Jack Cruz episode.
All right, can we move on? Can we learn to turn the other cheek, blonde?
Was that intolerable Bitcoin boomer?
Yes. He was
the guy that had his shirt off.
He had his shirt off. He was so inexplicably hostile towards me. I had no idea. He kept calling me a normie. I wanted to smack him in his old man boobs. Jack Cruz.
Have I done my penance, chat? Is this,
yes.
Are we good? By the way, next month we have got some serious heavy hitters coming on the show. And I'm saying this because it's my month to pick. We've got Daniel McAdams from the Ron Paul Institute, Lucas Gage. Who else is this? Pacific Northwest Gorilla is coming on. And we are working on, it's a toss-up between Kevin McDonald or Father Maudsley for the last Friday of October. I've been having a difficult time getting in touch with Kevin McDonald, so if anybody out there can please send him an email, that would be...
He does live in town. Maybe he can come in studio.
Bully him. I mean, I could just drive by his house.
Do a drive-by.
I know the gate code, so I could. I'm not going to.
We'll let you guys go before we do some ads. Adam, where can people find you?
NoMoreNews.org. I stream on Odyssey and Rumble and on X. No_more_news.
There's his X account. You can follow him on there.
Devon, what about you?
Well, if you go to blackpill.com, it'll just go to the Insomnia stream, I think Odyssey page, but I'm on Rumble. Also, inexplicably, still on BitChute for some reason, and I am on X, of course, black_pilled.
Yes, this is the Odyssey. Are you streaming primarily on Odyssey?
Rumble.
And Rumble, okay.
Odyssey and Rumble. I mean, those are the two big ones. In fact, the new monetization that Odyssey's doing, people are actually starting to use it. Like it was literally like I'd get one hyper chat every stream, and then last night was the first one, or first time, or not last night, night before last. It was the first time I got multiples. I got like 4 or 5. So maybe people are starting to use it.
Maybe we should consider
Do they
that.
just have to use credit card, or is it like a crypto thing that people have to sign up for?
I think it's, to be honest, I'm not sure, but I think it's like some crypto-y thing. Because I had to sign up for some crypto wallet to receive it.
They were doing their library token, but I know that they got persecuted.
That over.
Yeah, the library token
They got banned
is
from
out.
Stripe.
Oh,
Stripe
yeah.
canceled them.
Shit.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know that Rumble is going to be doing something. I am very excited for Rumble Wallet to launch. This is not a paid ad, even though I have the sticker on my laptop, but Rumble Wallet's going to be coming. I think you'll be able to donate Tether and Bitcoin directly, which will be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We really appreciate it. You guys are very important to the movement. You've both done excellent work. We really appreciate you taking the time to argue with Dave. That was awesome. This was the best content. You fulfilled my expectations and my wildest dreams. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Bye-bye.
All right. Now we get to read some advertisements. This is wonderful.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Oh my gosh. End the call for everyone. There we go. Okay. So now we do have to talk about our sponsors. The first one that we'll talk about is Atlas Bullion, because the economy is falling apart quicker than you can shake a stick. I haven't thought this through at all.
Then you can shake a stick at.
It's not good. It's going down. As you can see, the gold to silver ratio is up. It's about to hit 91. ounces of silver to gold. They are eroding your purchasing power, weakening the dollar. Gold is at, holy mackerel, $3,831 an ounce. That is an all-time high, and it's only going to continue to go higher. So please protect yourself, protect your family, protect your wealth by investing in precious metals, gold and silver, with subscriptions that start as low as $55 a month for silver subscriptions, $200 a month for gold subscriptions. They've also got plans for kids, like their Little Legends or Legacy Builders. And, you know, hey, if you've got money that's tied up in an IRA, I think that the stock market is going to be not doing well. So
this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, but you can roll over your 401k or IRA with Kenzie at Atlas Bullion. You can give her a call, send her an email. Check out atlasbullion.com/backlash to protect yourself against the financial storm that is coming. atlasbullion.com/backlash.
And protect your fertility
by using Idaho Tallow Company. There's no endocrine disruptors in their soaps and skincare products. They've got soap, balm, lip balm, all kinds of fantastic stuff that'll make you smell good and make you feel good, and they won't turn your nuts into raisins.
Also, not medical advice.
If you're tired of skincare packed with chemicals you can't pronounce at North Idaho Tallow Company, we keep it simple with grass-fed tallow, time-tested ingredients, and zero junk. Our soaps, balms, and lip balm are packed with bioavailable nutrients your skin actually needs, with no fillers, endocrine disruptors, just rugged, reliable skincare that works. Ditch the synthetic garbage and switch to North Idaho Tallow Company. Get yours at idahotallow.com. And if you sign up, by the way, for their Soap of the Month Club, they've got some pumpkin soap. Look at this, pumpkin spice tallow soap. Smells excellent.
It does.
It'll get you in the mood for the fall season. And you know, if you're looking for a woman, you can't do that if you smell bad. So you got to smell good if you want to save the white race.
I don't think chicks care.
Just saying, you got to scrub those armpits.
That fact check, not true. False.
I have been using the which one is it? This one, the coffee scrub tallow soap recently. It's like a mocha. It's wonderful. They've also got a peppermint lot, but they've got little pieces of coffee grounds that exfoliate your skin.
Oh, brighten it.
Very good. Oh yeah, yeah. Men, we need to be taking care of our skin. We need to be looking as good as we possibly can. And we've also got to give a big shout out to our other sponsor, not least of all.
The least important sponsor.
The not least important of all sponsor,
It's
of
been a long
course,
streak.
Antelope Hill Publishing, who's fighting to keep history alive against a regime of anti-white censorship and to publish a new generation of dissident, radical, and right-wing researchers, philosophers, polemicists, and writers. They have an eclectic catalog that includes veteran right-wing authors and academics like Kerry Bolton, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne, and Paul Kersey, as well as newer figures like Lord Miles Routledge of Afghanistan, Josh Neal, and Christian Secor, in addition to a long list of original translations or modern reprints of otherwise inaccessible historical works from eras such as fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and even medieval Europe. Their original works include groundbreaking investigations into the causes and funding behind transgenderism and the opioid crisis, books on Christian nationalism and American folktales. Additionally, Antelope Hill also contributes to the regeneration of our culture, rebirth of our family values, and it's all through their top-quality fiction, including books like Let Them Look West and World Separated, and a collection of beautifully illustrated and wholesome children's books. Whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published with cover art that will grace your bookshelves. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and work to preserve the birthright of our history. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com and pick up a copy of Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique. Fantastic book. It is required reading. And, by the way, we are going to be rolling out a new feature of our website very soon. I've been working diligently behind the scenes on it. While I haven't been, chugging beer out of my boot-shaped Hofbrauhaus.
He's not joking. Yesterday is
going around
He just gave my daughter $5
to go on the horse rides. Yeah. Got a priest drinking out of one of these, and I'm sitting there in line surrounded by priests whoa.
It was so fun. We had a great time.
It was a good time. But we're going to be rolling out a recommended book section or a book club of the website. So, we recommend a lot of different books on this program. And so we'll be offering a way for you to purchase those books that we recommend.
in a way that we actually get a kickback.
That is a brilliant idea.
No kidding. So, I've got my list all made up. You guys, you and Cameron have to
Okay, great.
get in there and put your book recommendations
That's
in.
what
but
that
we'll
tab
be-
was in the outline.
Yeah, we'll be rolling that out as soon as you guys fill out the books that you think are important. Let me just check one more time on the crypto super chat. Okay, nothing.
That was so fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We got huge numbers.
Huge.
We really appreciate it.
It was the biggest stream ever.
Please follow us on X at Real Backlash. Find all of our links on our website, thebacklash.net, where you will find also our TikTok and Instagram, which we're trying to get up and running, their new platform. So please follow us on YouTube at Real Backlash, Rumble at Backlash Podcast. We will be back on Wednesday and for our regular show and Thursday.
Oh yeah, we have a special Thursday show.
We have a
this
special
week.
Thursday show with Academic Agent. It's going to be awesome. 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, October 2nd. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us and have a nice day. Bye-bye.